Hello again, and you join me in my shed. This is part 2 of episode 2 of SHEDEEZ, where we have a chat with Doug from FLEETS Woodshop. Doug also wanted me to mention that he hasn't uploaded for a while. Anyone that's subscribed to his channel, I had a lot on with work, so he apologises for that, but he'll be back on again soon. But I've also brought along Mark from the Small Workshop Adventures. He was in part 1 of SHEDEEZ because he's a woodworking enthusiast, a lot of experience, and is a fan of Doug's workshop. So if you haven't seen it already, watch part 1. And to be clear, I'm finding my feet on this SHEDEEZ series, so bear with me. I also need to find a better way of doing video calls with a group of people. There's a bit of a delay on the sound and the video, so bear with me on it. But still a great conversation. It's quite a long video, as you'll probably see, but why not play it in the background? You don't have to watch our ugly mugs. You can listen to it while you're probably working in your workshop. Who knows? Please comment below any of your thoughts and opinions. And if you enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, subscribe. Anyway, enough waffle. Here's the video. I've been wanting to say this for a long time. Houston, do you copy?
Copy.
Loud and clear.
Houston.
I'll use the other Houston line a little bit later.
Yeah. How you guys doing?
Good. And Doug, it's been a long time coming. We spoke a few times on YouTube, and
Yes,
I've been wanting to have this chat for a long time. And I brought me wingman in Mark because he's a fan of yours, of course.
Am I Iceman? If you're Maverick, am I Iceman?
Oh, you could be Maverick. You could be Maverick. I'm all right with that. I've not seen number 2 yet. I daren't, just in case it ruins it.
no, it's a good movie. I think I saw it.
Yeah, good. Doug, I think everyone on my channel has seen your workshop. I did a bit of a part 1 showing your workshop on SHEDEEZ. Well, you call it a shop, we call it a workshop. Amazing. And Mark's coming as well. Apart from being a top guy, he's got a good knowledge of woodworking as well. Well, he's a woodworker, so he's going to help me along the way. I do use wood to make things, but I'm certainly not a woodworker. So he's going to.
You set me up to fail there, Rob.
I know. I didn't tell you about this, did I? Mortis and tenons.
He's not a resident expert.
Brilliant. I think what I'll do is we have a chat. I'll put a few clips on of your shop, and if anyone hasn't seen it, FLEETS Woodshop, and Mark's YouTube channel, Small Workshop Adventures. So, Doug, your workshop. I want to picture the scene. You've had a working week. It's been really busy. You know you've got 2 days off. You're about to go into your shop. You've got an idea, a project in mind. Describe the feeling you get when you walk through those doors.
It's my very happy place. It's where I can let the rest of the world just go away. It's real hard for me, though. It always has been all my life. I've been self-employed since I was in 10th grade in high school. And when you're self-employed, work never turns off, especially when you do something like I do. But it is the most relaxing feeling, especially if you have something the way you like it. And I consider it a curse. I'm a neat freak and organized. I'm the guy that can't sit in the dirty living room and watch TV. I have a lot of pleasure working on the shop. I have tons of pleasure working in the shop. One of my most favorite things nowadays, I have built so many cabinets in my life, and stairwells and doors and trim and base and credenzas and a bookshelf. It's becoming more, I really enjoy the artsy end of woodworking, mixing the resin with the wood and doing wood turnings and sculptures and things of that nature.
Cool.
I seem to get more views on YouTube if I put something out about the shop. But at the end of the day, shop information, how to do a shelf, a drawer, a good way to do this or that. But at the end of the day, if I want to enjoy myself in the shop, I'm going to do what makes me happy.
Of course.
And that's some creating something out of wood and resin or wood alone. At finding a different way to do something. It's a trait that my customers really like in the commercial construction business.
At this point, Mark's internet went down, but he does come back. It's
What time is it there?
8:30, hence...
Budweiser.
Well, it's actually later than that now. Was it 9 o'clock? Just gone 9, so yeah.
If you've got Red Label Budweiser there, have they got any Karbach beer in your section?
Do they? What, sorry?
No, a beer by the name of Karbach.
Karbach.
Karbach, K-A-R-B-A-C-H. Budweiser owns it.
Ah, I didn't know that. I've not seen it, to be honest.
My office and my shop here are on Karbach Street. And Karbach was a private brewery. They started up here on the street and they named themselves after the street.
Ah.
And they got so popular here, Budweiser bought them about 2 years ago. And they are just taking off all over the U.S. Belkis Marketing was a distributor out of Colorado. And they had a location here in Houston, here on Karbach Street.
Ah,
and they referred to it as the Karbach location.
Interesting.
So when they wanted to start brewing beer, they had to come up with a name. So they named the beer Karbach.
It's a good name.
And they got so popular over the last 10 years that a couple of years ago, Budweiser bought them out. And it's still ran by all the owners and everything.
Right.
And, but it's massive nowadays. It's kind of Party Central USA is what the streets turned into, because they have concerts and live events. They've got a 3-acre beer garden, a restaurant, and this is an industrial street we're on with warehouses and trucks and delivery docks.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So you have bars as well there, then, I take it? They must have their own...
Nope.
No?
Just Karbach Brewery. If it wasn't for Karbach Brewery, 100% industrial warehouses.
Right. Interesting. So what's your favorite? Just to explain, Mark's internet cut off there, so hence why we stopped mid-conversation. Doug, what's your favourite tipple then?
My favorite what?
Tipple. Drink.
Is that referring to beer?
Beer, wine, shorts.
Tipple. Got it. I like a martini.
Yeah. Straight. Straight.
Yeah, I like a martini. I don't drink them that often, but I do like a martini. So.
Yeah. With an olive. Do you have an olive in the martini?
Oh, that's called a dirty martini. Yes,
dirty
sir.
martini, that's it, yeah.
I like them filthy.
Like them filthy?
Very dirty. A lot of olives.
Well, there's no harm in having something a bit dirty. That's all right.
We need a few sins in life. You have to get by with a few sins.
Yes, you do.
So, going back to it, so you were basically explaining, Doug, when you enter your shop, and the feelings you get from it. And I suppose, putting that aside, the fact that if you're filming for YouTube, that sort of takes I won't say it takes the enjoyment out of it, but it's a distraction, isn't it? So if you could go in the shop and you've got no distractions at all, I think that's what we're referring to here. It's your happy place.
Yeah. It's nice to film the stuff while you're doing it. It's I won't say a lot more enjoyable not to worry about the filming of it. Because if you do want to film it, you've got to pay attention to the fact that you actually are filming it, where people can see everything and so on.
Of course.
So, but I like it. I really do. I enjoy the heck out of it.
And you've mentioned you've mentioned a few times that you do it for the enjoyment of sharing your knowledge with people.
Yes.
And I take it there's a good satisfaction in that.
I think what I was getting on a little bit, I'm no genius by any means. I wouldn't have graduated high school if I wouldn't have been able to go work half a day in a co-op program. But I am extremely good at solving problems. Yeah. And coming up with creative ways to do something. And that just kind of developed over the years of what I do for a living. Mm-hmm. And I've found that same sense flowing into my workshop, like building the pull handles out of bolts and repurposing rods and different things, cabinet handle pulls for decorative pieces on a turning. Just a lot of I'm real good at repurposing.
And a lot of imagination comes into that as well, doesn't it? I mean,
Oh, yes, sir.
and,
Yes, sir.
you certainly got pretty much every tool known to man, I think, for woodworking especially. But
Well,
a lot of
I've got everything I want.
exactly.
Yeah.
So what I'm pretty much trying to say is, even though you've got everything, imagination comes into play a lot of the time as well. So if our viewers out there don't have many tools, you can imagination sparks ideas, and you can build.
It's the
What you
most
like.
important thing, Rob, Doug. It's the most important thing. It's just, and just we fear our imagination, don't we? Or I'm not, but it doesn't matter. It's about just setting ourselves free. The whole point of you said that at the start, didn't you, Doug? That it's your happy place.
Yeah.
And so you go in there and you just do what makes you happy. With we're not. It's not to impress anybody. It's not to do anything. It's just it's a space where we can be totally ourselves, and out of that, amazing things can happen.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Very, very, very enjoyable, very relaxing, especially wood turning. I really enjoy the wood turning nowadays.
Is it? Can I ask you a question, Doug? So when you're talking about wood turning, what aspect of it is it you like? Because I know wood turning, but if you're wood turning, you're there in the moment, aren't you? You're right in the moment with it, and essentially your focus, your attention is right on that. It's very tactile. But is that a good space for you? And how does that feel? And where is your mind, your feelings, your emotions when you're wood turning? And how does that benefit you?
Well, it's relaxing. It's very creative in the moment. You're right there with the tool in your hand. There's no set pattern. Nothing is wrong. Nothing is right. I mean, yeah, you can break something, you can damage it, but what I'm saying is you can't create it wrong or create it correct. Each one is what it is.
Yeah.
Would you say very therapeutic as well?
Yeah. For the most part, you start the project on the lathe. You take it off the lathe when it's a finished product.
Of course.
That's right. I say for the most part. You do glue ups, you do cutting to size, and so on. An unfinished chunk of wood on the lathe, and you take off a glossy finished product. Very quick, instant gratification for what you're doing. I mean, I just find it so enjoyable.
And it makes you feel. And the important thing is, Doug, that you're sharing is it makes you feel. It's a great place to be in your head, because you said your work is so busy, working life is busy, clients, emails, and stuff. But when you're with the wood lathe and you're turning, that doesn't exist, does it?
Nope.
No.
All of that stuff just sort of melt into the background and actually not be present with you.
It stops in my mind, of course.
I suppose it's fairly trance-like, I suppose, in a way. You've got to be fairly conscious all the time, health and safety, and not injuring yourself. But it's almost like I suppose. Do you think of other things while you're doing it as well? So I suppose the amount of years you've done wood turning, it becomes second nature, like muscle memory, the sort of thing. Did your mind sort of go off into other thoughts while you're doing what you're doing, or?
Well, I'm an old rock and roller. I love rock and roll. Give me the Rolling Stones and Bob Seger and and any day of the week. And I got a really good stereo system in the shop. A really good, and I love to play my music while I'm working.
Yeah.
But YouTube kind of put a dent in that for me.
Of course, copyrights and everything else. Yeah,
copyright. You can't have Bob Seger playing in the background while you're working.
No, you can't.
No.
Unless you spend a lot of money on these royalty sites, and then you can use it. But you've got to spend quite a bit of money on the music channels that you can use, and then you will be able to access it. But it's quite a lot of money each month.
There's the other alternative.
I don't want to use it. I just want it playing in the background.
Yeah, you're not allowed to.
Yeah. The other alternative. Have you seen the ear defenders you can get with the earphones? But they're actually ear defenders as well. So like a dual purpose.
Yeah, but that kind of defeats the purpose.
It does. You're right. You want to move around.
Stereo system.
Yeah.
And So that's why I tend to let a few music clips play in the video while I'm working.
Yeah, yeah,
Because at that time, it was rocking in the background.
yeah, of course.
I'm asking a question, but maybe this is to all of us. Is there a number of seconds where YouTube will actually not do anything, and once it goes over maybe 3, 4, 5, 10 seconds, YouTube goes take it
I
down?
heard it was 5 seconds, but I don't know if that's the case or not. I've not even tried it, and
Yeah.
I think they use it. I've seen it in other videos before where there's like a few seconds, but it's been caught in the background. But I think as well you can use it for the purposes of a video if it forms part of the video. So let's say you're talking about Rolling Stones and you do a clip of Rolling Stones singing. Then that's part of the conversation you have, and there's a word for it. I don't know what it is, the phrase is, but it is allowed. But I think this is quite a good choice actually on YouTube anyway, on their downloadable music list. You can do copyright free using them, put them on your videos. I know there's a lot of YouTube channels that don't use any music at all because they think people quite like the sound. Is it ASMR or ASRM or whatever it is, where it's the sound of things working like machines and sanding and all this sort of thing.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? When you talk about using, because I tend to, when there's a noisy machine going that I'm filming myself, in my edits, I take that out and put something else.
Yeah.
Because but that's just a school of thought. What do you guys think what do you think, Doug? You know, what do you think you're filming? Would you keep the noise of, say, a table saw or a router or a wood turning?
Oh, yes. Yes, I've found myself doing it a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
If it's a repetitive process over and over, you can stand on a lathe for 10 hours and make turning. And that's about how long it would take. You can't make a 10-hour YouTube video.
Of course.
So there's a lot of time I've just got the camera off and I'm working on getting the project to another stage.
And I suppose that's everybody out there, that our viewers here, that they want to comment on what they prefer. Do they prefer music in a video where it's going to, I don't know, in between a time lapse, for example, or do they hear the sound of the machine or sanding or whatever? What do they prefer?
I like having the sound of the machines in the background.
Yeah.
I like the music. I love to talk while I'm working, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, some people do a voiceover. They cut and then they do. I don't
Correct.
do that, but some people do. They talk about, then they go to, and then they talk of what you record a voiceover later in your edits.
Yeah.
I haven't figured out how to do voiceover yet, so I haven't done that.
So, Doug, what size is your workshop overall?
The office area and the shop is a little over 5,000 square feet.
Wow.
About 1,000 square feet, 2,500. This one's a little bigger. Yeah, right. Just under 5,000 square feet. The office is about 1,000 square foot of that. Yeah. The rest is a shop.
Yeah,
and it's not a standalone building. It's a one-story tilt wall building, concrete walls, concrete roof.
Yeah.
And in all this side of the parking lot is about 50,000 square feet, and the other side of the parking lot's another 50,000 square feet.
Wow!
And it's a service center here that I own.
Yeah.
And I use this one spot for myself, and the rest is rented out. And I bought this property about 25 years ago.
Yeah. So good investment.
It's a big building, but a lot of people think I'm in my home or my garage or something, and I'm not. My home's only 5 minutes away, but I'm in my warehouse.
So that's like the lobby, if you like, where the roller shutter is, where you've got the ladders set up, and that's for contractors. Is that still in use then? Is that what you use for your day-to-day?
That's what some of my guys use from day to day.
Yeah.
The ladders, the extension cords, the tools that are all still in their case that can be taken out to a job.
Mm-hmm.
Things have changed and evolved like they do for all of us in our life. And back in the day, I might have had 20 employees and tools going out everywhere. And nowadays, I do a lot of subbing out. In other words, I'll hire the painter and the electrician and the framer and the floor people, and they bring their own tools and stuff.
Their own tools.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So some of the tools don't get used as much as they used to, but I'm not getting rid of them just for that purpose.
Of course, yeah. And you must have a
There's a lot more ladders than what you see. Just there's no reason to film a container full of ladders and trash buggies.
Of course.
And stuff.
So you must have a wide experience of brands of battery-operated tools and power tools. Is there any particular brands that you're sort of a fan of, value for money, shall we say? Because there's some really high-end brands out there, but not necessarily the best buy. More value for money brands, should I say?
It depends. I'm a toss up between DeWalt and Milwaukee.
There you go, Mark. Mark's a DeWalt fanboy.
You what?
Mark's
I'm a bit of a DeWalt fanboy. I do like DeWalt. If as far as it's the battery system that I've chosen as my preferred, so I've gone DeWalt in the end. But Milwaukee are easily as good. It's just that, you know, and one's red and black, and one's yellow and black.
Yeah.
I really like the wrap. One of the problems I've had with cordless tools when they first started coming out in the early 80s and stuff.
Yes, I remember. I was
your battery life on them just wasn't there, and it's gotten better and better. But the Milwaukees, my God, man, it just seems like those batteries never die.
Yeah,
well, that's good. Today I've been working on a job, and we were just bemoaning the fact of how many batteries I've got 5-volt. 5 amp batteries, 4s and 5s, and I haven't got any 6s or 9s. I've got 5s, and I've got some smaller ones. But on the job, you're using 5s. But maybe it's just the intensity of use. Interesting. I've got a friend who's in the industry. He's not on YouTube or anything like that, but he's in the industry, and he's swapped over to Milwaukee, and he's been DeWalt for a long time, and he's now bought a load of Milwaukee. Interesting, and I'm sort of okay. Let's see how he gets on with them.
And they've got a big range as well. The large range of products from Milwaukee as well, haven't they? It covers pretty much everything.
They do. Yeah. Especially, I don't know how it is over there, but especially over here, they got everything.
Yeah, there's a channel that's on YouTube. I think it's called Oakwood Garden Rooms. Have you seen it, Mark?
Yeah, I've got him. I watch him.
Yeah. And he swears, but I think it's a Milwaukee cordless drill he uses because he was
DeWalt.
I'm sure he's got this huge. He's got the high torque. I'm sure it was the Milwaukee the last video I saw anyway, and he has to drill through those timbers, which are 4 or 5 inches, and the hole is something like 20 mil, and it's like straight through and straight back out again. And I'm sure it was Milwaukee. It's man enough for the job.
He was,
yeah.
He's recently started doing van life stuff.
I saw it. Yeah, I haven't watched the video yet.
He's recently gone into so he's diversified slightly on his channel.
Yeah.
Maybe something he's doing that he's doing up vans and turning them into camper vans. I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me. But
great guy, isn't he? Full of energy. God.
Full of energy. Great. He's a great watch. I didn't know you watched him, Rob, but yeah, he's a great watch.
Yeah, definitely.
Oakwood Garden Rooms. Watch him if you find him, Doug. Oakwood Garden Rooms.
Oakwood Garden Room.
Yeah. He's 100 mile an hour. Huge talent, loads of experience, and he builds these garden rooms all over the. Well, it's all over the country,
but record time. He's got quite a workforce that does it with him, I believe.
Yeah. So, power tools, battery tools, or hand tools? Do you? Do you still like to get the little chisels out, sharpen them up, and the hand plane?
Oh yes, they all have their place and their purpose. You've got your hand tools, everything from now. If you're just talking chisel and woodworking hand tools, rabbet planes, box planes, scrapers, chisels. Yeah, I use them. Do I prefer the power tools? Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, your other end of the hand tool world, wrenches and screwdrivers, so on, of course.
Yeah.
Do you remember, and I'm probably Rob does, do you remember, because you were talking about when the battery, cordless drills started coming out back in the 80s, and I remember that when I was working. I was in my family furniture manufacturing, building furniture at the time, and but when we got that, it was like, because we all had the pump action Yankee screwdriver. Do you remember those?
Oh, I've got many of them. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You might have heard.
I had loads of them. I actually haven't got any anymore, and I actually want one. I'm sure I could. I went and searched for one. I could find one. Used to use them all the time, and then they brought out these electric screwdrivers. Like, where is that? I think it was Makita.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the first ones I found.
It was one of the first
early doing them. I think if I'm right. Am I right there, Doug?
Makita was one of the very first tools to come out.
There you go.
From my recollection, it was electric screwdrivers.
Yeah, electric screwdrivers is the first things that they started doing, and they turned up about the around 84, 85.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. Not Black and Decker didn't get involved until later then, because they were the power drill at the time, weren't they?
Dremel tools were right after them.
Yeah.
The Dremels hit the market big before the cordless hand tools did.
Mm-hmm. And then there's loads of iterations of the Dremel now, of course, and the copies.
Oh my God, yes.
I mean, I've got one. I got one from a supermarket in the UK called Lidl. I don't know if it's in the States or not, but from the middle aisle, as we call it,
Yes.
a company called Parkside. And I rate them. I really do. I mean, I've had it for 3 years, probably a bit longer, and it just keeps on going, and it spins.
Yeah.
It spins fast.
Yeah. Rob's a bit of a Parkside fan.
I am.
And
you can.
I've seen quite a few videos pop out, and it's like, I don't really know these tools. But
The funny thing is, they've brought out a hoodie now as well with Parkside on it. So, do I buy one of those?
Awesome. Yes, defo.
Parkside fanboy.
Yeah,
Really?
I don't actually own any. It's a sort of.
Yeah. They're well made. I've got a 3-year warranty with it. They're well made. I've not had one go down. It does exactly what it's supposed to do, and they're good value for money. I mean, you can't go wrong really. There's another one which is Aldi, of course, which are like the competition.
Do the same thing. They're the middle aisle, and you never know what's. You walk down there going, well, it's going to be different each week, and there's
Of course.
random things that you can go and buy.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't got supermarkets like or Walmart, where you go in and you've got each side. I mean, we're a lot smaller, but the UK is a lot smaller.
Yeah, of course.
Smaller than Texas, isn't it?
Yeah.
Walmarts aren't that great anymore. They're big, don't get me wrong, but
Who?
Walmart's they're not
Oh,
great.
Walmart. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're big, yeah.
But then you've got is it Home Depot?
As far as your building and hardware store, it's Home Depot.
Yeah.
And we used to have one called Builder's Square.
Uh-huh.
Builder's Square was bigger and older than Home Depot. They had been around for quite a while.
Yeah.
But something went wrong. They just disappeared off the face of the earth.
Yeah, yeah.
And a small mom and pop company about 10 years ago went nationwide called Lowe's.
Ah, yes, I know the name.
Yes,
Lowe's.
I know them.
Lowe's.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
And Lowe's is getting more popular and popular every day, and they're a big, very large
I've been
tool
in
and
a
hardware
Lowe's.
and home goods store.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Yes, that's a brand or a name of a shop that I've been in when I've been over in the States.
I use Screwfix quite a bit nowadays as well. I always have a look, see what the pricing's like on there. Do you use Screwfix much, Mark?
What product is that?
Most days.
Screwfix.
I use, yes, I do. I use Screwfix. I use Toolstation.
Ah, yeah, of course.
I've got accounts with Screwfix, Toolstation, and Juicens.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do use. I get most of my big material from Juicens, which is a big builders merchant over here in the UK. And I buy a lot. I spend a lot. Well, my customers spend a lot of money with Juicens.
Yeah, of course.
And I spend their money on their behalf. As well as Screwfix as well. I was in Screwfix this morning at 7 o'clock.
Yeah. Good value at Screwfix for hardware as well, especially hardware.
Screwfix works in the UK, and I guess that might be like Lowe's, because it works for both the DIYer, which I am, because when you're not working, you're doing DIY. Because
Yeah.
you can go in there. It's not just trade, but although it says where the trade, their tagline is where the trade buys.
And they have counters as well. So they're saving a lot of money. Someone like B&Q, which that's like your general store, whereas Screwfix, they have it in aisles. You go to the counter, you order it from the book, and they go off and get it. So obviously their overheads are a lot lower. Similar to a company we have in the UK as well called Argos, where you go up to the counter, order what you need, they go off and bring it to you, rather than walking around aisles after aisles after aisles. So they bring their overheads down, and obviously it works a lot better, and they can save you some money. I was going to ask you as well, Doug, the hardware cabinets you've got in your main part of your workshop. What's the brand? Because you swear by them, don't you? Those plastic containers you keep your nuts and bolts in.
Little plastic drawer trays.
Yeah.
Just where all the nuts and bolts and screws are.
Yeah.
That is a brand called Stack On.
Stack On.
Stack On.
Never heard of it.
You know, they sell them at the Home Depot and the Lowe's in the 24-pack with the little plastic case.
Right.
I think I've told the story on YouTube a couple of times. I had them all just hanging up on the wall, but those little cases fall apart. And so I just decided I'd build some wooden ones. Well, I've never built a simple looking plain thing in my life. Fancy it up and make it look pretty.
That's good enough praise. Yeah, and that's what caught me, made me think. Look, if you're using them, they've got to be good, and they've got to withstand a lot of weight and a lot of pressure and being thrown around. And so you must have 1,000 or so of those boxes in your shop.
Oh, if not more.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. Those little type of pull-out plastic trays, they changed a few years back. The plastic used to be hard and brittle, where they would break and crack.
Shatter, yeah.
And Stack On changed the plastic they were using, and I know nothing about plastic. But those particular ones, you can literally just twist them and crank them, and they just go right back to shape and don't break. They're all loaded from top to bottom with metal, nuts, bolts, washers.
Yeah.
You know,
brilliant.
The smaller the product, the denser it is, the heavier it is. Yeah. And they hold up just as great as can be.
I'll put a clip in from your shop of these boxes.
Yeah, there's on one video, there's a clip where I'm holding one, and I read a comment on the Snap-on's comments on their site or whatever, where some Yahoo put, those things are cheap as can be. I wouldn't put my Q-tips in them. You know, and I had a laugh because I'm sitting there holding one in my hand with 8 pounds of steel in it, of metal, 8 pounds of metal. I weighed it first.
Yeah.
All right. And it's holding up just fine.
Yeah.
Their trays are wonderful. Their units that they give you, those plastic holder things, are hard.
Yeah. But the core part of their product
fall apart. So I just built my own, and it just kept growing and growing.
Yeah. And you mentioned as well about making everything beautiful and everything nice to look at in your shop. And you did a spray booth as well, didn't you? Spray booth you made?
I did.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, I did. That's like I said, that's just me.
Yeah.
My garage at home where I pull in my car has ceramic on the floor, murals on the wall, and crown mold on the ceiling. Not because it has to be.
But why not? Why not?
I like things
to look at. If you can, Doug, why not?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
It makes you happy. Yeah. And I'm a believer in filling every wall space in my shed as well, because I like it sort of gives you inspiration as well. When you've got things everywhere to look at, you're thinking of something or procrastinating or trying to think of an idea. You look around and you just get ideas that come into your head. Each their own, of course, but if it was just a white blank workshop shed, it just wouldn't give me their inspiration. So
the organized thing and things looking neat, I have no idea where it came from. My dad was, imagine the worst looking garage you've ever seen. Stuff just thrown in the corner. 200 coffee cans full of different screws and nails. rusted old tools just pop. That was my dad.
And that it probably his happy place as well. He liked it just the way it was.
I imagine
Just
that
the way it was.
amazing. I love that old school. Well, I do, because I had a dad, and my dad and my grandfather were both had their workshops, and I've come from a long line of people working and doing that for generations, and builders and building companies and furniture manufacturing. So it's just amazing being around it, and I can just see you where you're describing your dad and that. I've got a picture already, because I've been in that space many times.
Yeah, my dad, bless his heart, he was no carpenter. That poor man couldn't even drive a nail without bending it.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, but he, I don't know. I don't want to sit here and knock my dad, because I love my dad.
Of course not. No. Yeah.
But just what I'm trying to get a point. The total opposite. It's not
exactly. But this is the whole point. He was happy with what he was doing. As is, there's certain things we do in life that we might be better than someone else at, or do things in a different way that might. But it doesn't mean it's not better. It's more what makes you feel happy. And there's a lot of people out there that if they've got something that needs doing, they'll just call the tradesman in, and they won't think of doing it themselves. And why not? If they're full-time job, they've got other interests. I think what we all have in common is we just like to make things. We just like to think of something and not even put it on paper, but come up with an idea, and then when you've built it, that's pretty much what I thought it was going to turn out like, and it's the sense of accomplishment. Some people go water skiing, some people go racing cars.
Doug, I'm thinking, on the face of it, you almost what our two workshops represent are the polar opposites of each other. You've got this amazing space, and mine is really, really small, but
it's all right.
Doesn't matter.
No.
Because it's about what you can do in that space and how it makes you feel. And there's no limit to. Some people can have the most enormous factory and achieve nothing. And you see that, and you experience that. But it's about what. It's how about that place makes you happy, what you do in it, and there's no limit to anything. And we talked about, as we started this conversation earlier on, that the only thing that limits us is our imagination.
Correct.
And where we can go. That's the thing, that we are not bound by walls or what's there. We'll all work in those spaces, and we'll use those spaces, but it's about being creative and about learning and about being allowing your imagination to go places.
It is, yeah.
And I think the whole thing about what we call men in sheds. We've got a thing in the UK called Men in Sheds, which actually looks after men and their mental well-being, and it's about supporting men who wouldn't normally do that. But what it does, it brings people to a space that they can just be themselves, and it encourages them to be themselves without walls, even though you're physically in a wall, whatever how big that space is, because that's not the limitation. The limitation is actually here and ourselves.
Of course,
and we can learn
and
to set that point in your shop, however big, it doesn't matter.
Very good.
Yeah, it is. Funny enough, Mark, you mentioned that Men in Sheds. I saw their channel actually the other day, and they did a thing called Shedfest. Did you know about that? Shedfest. It's an exhibition where a load of people turn up that are part of this Men in Sheds organisation, and I think they have workshops and things going on there, and speakers. And I caught part of a video, and it was quite interesting. I didn't see the lot. I was going to recommend it to you actually. And they said something like, if you put a broken lawnmower in a room with 10 blokes, could be anybody really, strangers, and say, fix that lawnmower, or attempt to fix that lawnmower, within a couple of hours, they'll all know everybody's name, they'll know everything about them, they'll be on talking terms, they'll be the best buddies. And I think this is where it's sort of, YouTube's similar to this, because we share ideas. So someone sort of takes the idea and takes it a little bit further, or they get an idea from something and move it in another direction. And that's the great thing about comments and reacting to other people's opinions as well. Doug, your wood collection.
Yes, sir.
How many species are you up to so far?
think I've got 140 on the wall, and I've got about 25 that I have not had a chance to put on the wall yet.
Wow.
So you know them, because you've got them, you've got them in this sort of triangular thing, haven't you? One half
clear, one half clear coated, one half left natural.
One half left natural, and I was like,
What a great idea that is.
What's your most exotic and rarest, do you think?
The hardest one that I had time getting was called pink ivory.
Pink ivory.
The little pink ivory it's pink. It's not black ivory or black and white ivory. The samples I put on the wall were 3 inches by 12 inches. I know y'all use strictly meters, but we use both. And to get that sample of pink ivory, I literally had to cut a board in half and glue it back together to get a piece 3 inches by 12 inches. Yeah. It's just such an exotic and rare wood. And when they're bringing it down out of the Amazon and out of the mountains, the biggest piece they can get is what they can carry on their shoulder.
Of course, yeah.
Like snake wood. You'll never find an 8-foot long piece of snake wood, which is a very beautiful, very hard brown wood. It's one of the few woods that won't float. There's about 3 woods that will not float, and
it's that dense.
It's that dense. Snake wood is one of them.
Don't make a boat out of it.
Oh yeah, God, yeah. I'm gonna say it wrong. I screw up words, but ligma vita, vita maligna. That's its scientific. All woods have its scientific name, also.
The Latin word for it.
The Latin version. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So
I can't pronounce.
I think you put it out there once. How many species of tree are there out there in the world? You put it out there once. You had a figure. Was it something like 40?
I did. To my knowledge, there are about 60,000.
So
60,000. From what I've learned and what I've read, there's not that many you can get a wood species out of, though.
No.
For some reason, I mean, we have a shrub here called mesquite, and it's basically you might have heard that word. It's basically a scrap bush, trash bush that grows in the desert and on fence lines and stuff. But it becomes a big bush.
Yeah.
And it has some beautiful wood. It has a wonderful. People love to use mesquite for barbecues or fire pits.
The aroma.
Because of the aroma that it puts off.
Yeah.
When it burns. But boy, lately it's just gotten to be real popular in the wood turners world.
Okay.
Interesting.
Really nice wood. I actually had somebody brought me a sample of rose bush, but it's tiny. It's an old oak. Rose, excuse me. And the biggest piece he could get was about 1 inch round.
Right.
And I've got the piece of rose bush, but there ain't no way. Yeah, inch is what? 3? No, not millimeters.
25 mil.
25 mil.
25 mil.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I can make a handle out of it or a turning.
Or a pen,
small.
or you can make a pen blank, I suppose. But
yeah, there's no way I'm ever going to put a sample of rosebush wood up on the wall. It's just not going to get big enough.
Of course not. And anyone's watching, if they want to send you a sample, you've got a list somewhere, haven't you, of all the ones you have?
I do. I have it on a couple of videos. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure I have it on. There is one video that's just about the wood list.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure it's on that, and I would love to have it.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a gentleman named John out of Florida, and I've told the story on YouTube. I think I have. He lives on the Edison and Ford estates. Thomas Edison and Henry Ford. You probably heard about them.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, a
little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, they were very good friends back in the day.
Yeah.
And they got together and bought up thousands of acres in Florida. They brought trees in from all around the world and planted them on that land. And to this day, it's still there. But every now and then, one gets knocked down by a hurricane or dies or whatever. And John happens to live there, and he gets the wood and makes things, and they sell it in the novelty shop because you can still go tour the old estate.
Of course.
Yeah.
But he was telling me the thousands of different of species of trees that they had growing there, that Thomas Edison and Henry Ford brought in from all around the world.
And that's what they used to do in the UK as well, with stately homes and, well, not say castles, but mainly stately homes around the UK.
I was in a castle, Rob, 2 weeks ago that done exactly that in the north of Scotland.
Where was that? Where was that? Sorry, you broke up.
Dunvegan Castle. It's the longest inhabited castle in Scotland. Might be in the world.
Really?
I don't know, but certainly in Scotland, it's been inhabited by the MacLeod. So if you've ever watched Highlander, the original Highlander, the film, Clan MacLeod. They're from this. That's where the Clan MacLeod
really
still live, and the current chief is, I don't know, 22nd chief, but it's been 800 years. It's been inhabited.
Yeah.
Incredible place.
Yeah.
And they've got all these species in their garden, because and I know because I bought tickets. Me and Dawn, my wife, we went there. We were there a few weeks ago, and we got tickets to go around, look around the castle and the gardens. Amazing species from all around the world, and this is up in the north of Scotland.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that one day.
If you look at Dunvegan Castle, it's on the Isle of Skye. Just an incredible place.
Wow.
But and that castle, the MacLeod. So I felt like, history.
Yeah. You remember the wins we had in the 80s. You know, when Michael Fish. There's a weather reporter weather forecaster in the UK called Michael Fish. About 86 or 87, something like that. He came on TV to do the weather forecast, and he said, what was it? There was no storms coming.
No storm.
Don't worry.
No chance.
Don't worry. There's no chance. And the next day, they had the worst storm in the UK for hundreds of years. Yeah, something like that.
Storms for the UK. I know in Florida they get category 5, 4, and 5 hurricanes. But we had a category 4 maybe a category 4 hurricane that hit us, and hundreds of thousands of trees.
Old trees. Trunks, I don't know, 10 feet wide.
Old oaks.
The whole country was obliterated.
Years old.
But the one that survived, though, you don't know, I don't know if it's still there or not. Actually, the major oak. Do you know about the major oak, Doug?
Major oak?
Never heard. Have you know about the major oak, Mark?
No.
Robin. Major oak. Robin. The
I
story
can
of.
tell you a story about German oak, but not major oak.
No, it's one tree in Sherwood Forest. The only reason I say that because I'm from the East Midlands, right?
And it's your neck of the woods.
Yeah, so it's the Robin Hood part of it, and that's where he was meant to take shelter underneath the major oak, and it was part of the Robin Hood story or myth or whatever you want to call it. And if you ever look it up online, all the trunk, the branches, the first branches are all supported with wooden beams to hold them in place. Sure. It's a huge trunk. So I don't know how many hundreds of years. Probably.
They're trying to preserve it, so they're keeping it, supporting it now because it's just too big and old.
But they're keeping it because of the story behind it. But I'm sure 1,000 years old. I don't know. It's old. It's old.
It's crazy, isn't it? There's some down here in the New Forest that are that as well. They've got some redwoods in the New Forest, which you have over in California. Yes, and they're obviously not native to the New Forest in the south of England, but they were planted there obviously many years ago, and these giant redwoods. And I've stood amongst them and been in awe. And I've never been to California. I've been to other parts of the States, but not California, and seen the actual. But that would be something to go and see those type of trees.
Oh yeah, I could. Just a quick question as well. Tools on your hand tools that you've got displayed above. I think a few people have sent you some old tools as well that you've, vintage tools if you like. You must have an oldest tool there.
It would have to be some of those old 1800 twist bits where you've just got the wood bit with the wooden handle.
Oh yes, yeah.
I love them. I had one of those.
Yeah. I've got several of those.
Oh, I haven't got one now, but I did have one when I first started doing it, way back when I was a boy, when I was doing work, and with my granddad.
Yeah.
Oh. 1800s. 1800s, did you say there? 1800.
Oh, easy 1800s.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm not that old, and I haven't got that.
I'm gonna say
No,
you don't look
I
it.
know.
You don't
I
look
mean
it. Yeah.
the tool.
Yeah.
I've got very unique ones and some very nice ones.
Oh, amazing! Proper antiques.
Yeah.
One of my favorites is a nail gun, a pneumatic nail gun. Which you say a pneumatic nail gun made out of aluminum. That's not really an old tool.
Vintage. Vintage.
Yeah, vintage. It's from the 70s, and I had it for years. An old framing gun.
Yeah.
Shot 3-inch nails, ring shanked, and it finally broke on me, and I put it up on the wall.
They don't make them like they
I've got
used
a
to.
few of my dad's tools. I've got some of my uncle's tools, but I kid you not, none of them were any kind of carpenter. I don't know how it got in my blood. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's sometimes from childhood as well. We see something. I used to like making things when I was a child, as a kid, and I thought it sort of stemmed from there. My granddad used to build a lot as well to make things, and I think it probably stemmed from that. But you just don't know, do you? You've got that feeling where you need to make something. Yeah,
It comes to you.
it does. It does. Mark, I think you've got a question, haven't you?
Yeah. One of the questions I've noticed, you got a lot of lovely wood grain that matches when you follow it round. So how did you achieve that process? Or that's what I'm noticing with the video. Now I don't know whether that's correct or not, but it looks like you've matched the grain as you go around the drawer.
Continuous grain.
Continuous grain.
It is to do the inside of that workbench. When I first put the drawers on and I stood back and looked at it, I said that looks horrible. The grains were just different. There was no reason that I couldn't use a longer piece of wood and make the grains match.
Yeah.
But it took about 23 feet to make a U shape around that center workbench.
Wow.
With the grain running contiguous, and you can't get a board that long.
No,
of course.
No, not in red oak. And I mean, if you get 16 foot, you're doing well.
Yeah, it's a big piece of timber.
I was forced by what the product I could get to put a few breaks in it, but I put great pain into making it line up in the corners as best as I could, so that it truly looked like it all flowed.
It looks spectacular. It looks spectacular, and I picked that up pretty quick. I mean, I mentioned it to Rob because Rob introduced you to me, and I was like, look at the matching grain.
Attention to
wow.
detail. It's attention to detail, and some people might not even spot it.
That's right.
Yeah, love it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, if you're gonna do something, do it right.
We mentioned earlier about videos. Are you've had a bit of a break from YouTube, haven't you, Doug? Are you coming back on soon, or is it?
Yeah, not by choice. I've just been so bloody busy.
Yeah.
With work that I just haven't had a spare minute for anything.
Of course.
Let alone working in the shop that much. And I've been out there. I had to fix a couple of things and do things. And I've been working. I've got 4 different videos I'm working on.
Oh, really?
I just hadn't been. Oh, yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
Good.
I might disappear for a little while because I'm busy. But absolutely, I've got. There was someone that really, really liked the way I did those rolling drawers, those rolling tool doors with the pegboard on them, and I'm working on a video for that for them, and I've got two turning projects going on, and I'm rebuilding my drill press stand. I was given one that was made by oh God, I forget. I don't have it in front of me, guys. I'm sitting in part of the office, not the shop. A very well-known tool manufacturer makes a very nice one that's got dust collection in the backboard of the drill press. And I love the extensions on it and the dust collection and the slide on the guide. There's just a couple of that I don't like. So I'm going to modify it a little bit. Every drill press I've ever owned, including this one, if you want to put a drill press in a particular place and leave it there and have something next to it, you've got to get to the sides of a drill press to raise the height and to loosen the handle on the back to be able to raise the table.
Of course.
And I'm modifying it so I can do everything from the front.
Great. We'll look out for that. We'll look out for that. And all my viewers out there, we'll put the link below of your channel. And then hopefully that'll pop up soon. And we can have a look and comment. And anyone that's not subscribed to Doug anyway, go over and subscribe to Doug. And Mark. And Mark. And congratulations, Mark. He's just got 1,000 subscribers. Well deserved, mate.
I've just ticked over, which
well deserved, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Mark, I've seen a few of your videos, but I haven't had that much attention lately. What's your favorite thing to do?
My favorite thing to do.
I see the guitar in the back.
Yeah, I've never made a guitar.
I've asked him this question.
Guitar player. I am a very good guitar player, and that's a very expensive guitar in the back. I've got a few guitars.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm a musician as well.
Are you pretty good at playing it?
Yeah, I am pretty good at playing it. I spent a lot of time. I've done a lot. I did spend a part of my life when I left. As I say, not that I did really talk about it on here, but my original trade is this, what I'm doing back now doing. So I've sort of come full circle in the family business and woodworking and cabinet making, furniture making, all of that. But I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that when I was younger. What I wanted to be was a professional musician. And I was fortunate enough to become a professional musician. I was good enough. So I did it, and it took me in certain directions. And I had a great career and a great life until a very big moment in my life back in 2001, where I had a big life event happened, and I had a major accident. And so I stopped. It literally stopped, and then I was very unwell for quite a long time, both physically and then mentally. So it was a long, long period of me being really unwell, and I came back. And so I've come back to it. So now I've sort of come full circle. I ended up then working in acute mental health because of being unwell, and then using that lived experience, and then finding out that I could actually support people, and men particularly, but all sorts of people, and working for the NHS and working in the NHS. And now I've left that, still freelance teaching occasionally in acute mental health, but the channel is sort of morphed into both woodworking and well-being, and men's well-being, and supporting men, or attempting to. Who knows how YouTube does that? So I've come full circle really with it, and I've come back. So that's a very quick on my life. Blimey, I'm on 57 at the minute, but yeah.
And it does gel. Your channel now gels perfectly. The way you've got the well-being with the shed as well, or the workshop. I think it comes together.
Yeah, I mean, when I jumped out with the well-being, it was like, oh, this is a bit random because there is nobody Oh
my. Who's that signed by?
Who is it?
It's signed by.
That's what's hanging right above me. That's signed by the Rolling Stones.
Well, you got all the signatures on there, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Wow.
And I think that's just a small part of your collection, eh, Doug?
Yeah, there's a...
Oh, now you've really blown me out.
I can't see what I'm seeing if I get out. Yeah.
He's top trump you there, Mark.
That's not signed. Well, I could sign it, but that's irrelevant.
Famous name you played with?
Who have I played with?
Who you played with?
Who have I played with? Jules Holland.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Worked with, and I also did. I worked with Lulu. Oh, God,
I've heard of Lulu.
Yeah, do you know Lulu? I'm taking some old names. Tony Hadley from Spandau Ballet.
Wow.
Okay.
Anyway, and a few others. So I also, I was also in I had function bands as well. So in the corporate, a lot of corporate stuff. So show bands. I had a band called Intuition many years ago, and then other bands and things. So had a great time, had a great life.
Great.
Yeah, and I just love performing in front of people. I don't really do that now. I did a gig in the summer.
You're doing it now, Mark. You're doing it now. Performing on YouTube. It's another form of performing.
Yeah. It's a different type of gig now, but
Yeah.
you know, you're doing that, and then I'm just bringing all my passion for well-being, which is weird bringing it into a woodworking forum, but I don't think anyone else is doing it, to be honest.
No,
Not
no,
that I can
it
see.
does fit. It does fit, and you explain it well. One other question. I don't know if Mark's got another question or not, but I was gonna. You got another question, Mark? I've got one
Well,
more.
it's just around the community stuff, really, because that's a big thing with me. I've sort of, and I know it sounds like you sort of answered it, really, but I know with my own workshop, which is in the community I live in, and I've sort of said to my friends and neighbours as well, and people, you know, because I think it's just important where communities look after each other. And I've said, you know, if you ever need to use the tools, you ever need a workspace to come and do it, come in the workshop. And and it's there to be, you know, you can come and I don't mind. You can come and do some projects if you need to. And people have like really appreciated it. And a few people have, or you know, are talking about doing that. And I just wondered from your perspective and your shop, you know, whether that's something you do, because it sounds like it. But obviously it's a very big workplace. But whether the community side of it and how it looks after people.
I can't really say it does, to be honest with you, from that aspect. It truly is a one-man shop. It's me and Mr. Berto, and that's I don't really belong to any woodworkers clubs or turning clubs or anything. Not that I haven't been invited, and not that I don't want to. I really need to stop working, because I mean I've gotten to a point in life where I don't have to work this much.
Yeah,
I just stay so busy that I can't. One thing I don't talk about on YouTube is I've been involved in charity in the community, very much so, all my life. Yeah, I met my wife on Christmas Eve of 87 or 86. I should know that. 86. We were both doing some charity work at an event in downtown Houston.
Yeah.
And she told me she was looking to buy an apartment complex, and that multi-family living all in one place. That's what apartment complex, and use it to house elderly and abused seniors who needed help getting back on their feet. And I said, well, that was nice. So I'm in the construction business. And when I said that, she started telling me about all the work that needed to be done to this old apartment complex to make it habitable. So I won't lie, I was just chasing a beautiful woman. I decided to go help. So I did.
Knight in shining armour.
I was on the board of directors of the agency for 7 or 8 years. I had to get off because I stopped working for about 10 years. Did nothing but work on that charity with her. I give back to the community.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And you can say, I think you've mentioned it. I think you've mentioned it on your channel before that you've done a few raffles as well. You've raffled off some of your things you've made. I'm sure you said you've raffled.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the children that have my heart nowadays. We take in mothers, abused mothers who are hiding from. All us guys aren't that great, believe me.
Yeah,
There's
of course.
really
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I know you do.
Yeah. I'm going to end on. I'm not even going to ask you this question. What I'm going to put it out to our viewers. I'm not even going to ask you how much your shop has cost you in total, because I know what your answer is going to be. It's impossible to work out. So go and have a watch of Doug's tour and work it out for yourself. That's the easiest way. It's a lifetime. A lifetime. And it's
I gotta say, because I can't tell you how many times I get asked that.
Well, you know what? The funny thing is, I think it's human nature to know how much a value is of something. There's a show. There's a show in the UK called Antiques Roadshow, and I think Mark knows what I'm probably going to say.
I do, yes.
Yeah. So it's a show that used to be. I think it's still on now, and on a Sunday evening, and people, the general public, bring their old vintage antiques along, and the experts come in, and they tell you the history behind it if they didn't know anything behind it, who the artist was, blah. Everyone that's watching the program, all they want to know, how much is it worth?
So all they're waiting for that one, the punchline at the end.
It's
It's not worth anything. It's like, occasionally something's really worth something. You go, oh.
Well, it's the best. The best one is always the end of the show. So you wait to the end of the show, then watch the last one because you know that one's going to be the biggie. They got it for £20 30 years ago, and now it's worth £100,000. So it's what it is.
Yeah, just so you know, my friend, that is a very well-known show. It's all over the U.S. and Canada.
Oh, right, okay, sorry, yeah, all right, good.
Oh,
Antique Roadshow, oh yes.
100 years, so of the BBC. Although obviously we all consume media now very differently to how we did when back in the UK. You were way ahead of us. But you know, when you had multiple channels, the UK still only had, what, 2 or 3
We had 3 up until, what was it, 30 years ago. And then
Yeah.
4 came out, and then, there's another channel. And then you used to see on TV that America's got cable, hundreds of channels.
But you've got hundreds of channels, and we just couldn't get our head around that. Now we've all got it.
The UK has always amazed me, guys. As you well know, a small little island.
Yeah.
Smaller than the size of Texas, but at one time ruled the world.
Yeah.
It's always been punching above its weight.
We always are. We still are now.
I mean, what a powerful statement.
In sporting terms, which we've not discussed tonight, but in sporting terms, we're still up there with the best in the world at most things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then for a tiny nation,
Bear me 1 minute.
Really, it's quite incredible.
It is.
I'm just making sure
That's
this
the
camera's
point
on.
I was getting at. For such a small nation,
And the inventions that have come out of the UK or Great Britain or whatever it was over the centuries is just
Yeah. Well, a lot to be proud of.
not to be proud of.
Yeah, I mean, and say the music as well. I'm sure there's a lot of rock music that comes from the UK that you got
Rolling Stones.
So you got the.
Oh my God, it's more than the Rolling Stones. Don't get me talking about rock and roll. The world knows Ozzy's from London.
Yeah.
But,
He's from Birmingham.
Well, he's Birmingham. Ozzy Osbourne is Ozzy, who's very unwell now with
Parkinson's, is it?
Parkinson's.
Oh, really? Has Parkinson's hit him?
Yeah, he's very unwell with it. Yeah. He won't be doing it. You rarely see him now. He's suffering quite dramatically. Parkinson's.
I saw a video the other day, a brand new one with a meetup from the original Back to the Future movie.
Yeah, I saw it.
With Michael J. Fox and the other fella. I mean, recent, within the last week.
Yeah, I
saw it.
Yeah, Michael J. Fox can't even stand still.
I know, and it's such a shame. It's such a shame because Back to the Future is one of my all-time favourite movies, and I think it is for a lot of people. And he could have had a huge career. He could have had. I think he was 29 when he got it, wasn't he? He was very young. And you think what sort of career would have had if he hadn't have got Parkinson's? I mean,
Parkinson's.
Yeah.
Health is the most important thing in the world.
Of course, exactly.
Oh.
And your workshop.
And your workshop, which supports your health and your well-being.
Yeah, exactly.
What we're advocating here.
It is exactly.
What time is it there?
It's now 10:30 in the evening.
10:30 in the evening, and I've been up since 5:30.
Oh. Yeah.
So I'm tired.
It's 4:30 here.
Oh, you've got the evening left.
No, it's 10:30, and I'm going to go to bed because I've got to do a bit of work tomorrow early in the morning, so I need to get up.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, boys, look, this has been great. Absolute great conversation. It's been a pleasure to have you on this show.
Pleasure.
Doug and Mark. And
Let's do another one and add somebody else.
That's a good idea. Let's see how many people we can build it on, one each time. Yeah. Bring another one to it. Any suggestions? Come on board.
Spike the Frugal Fixer.
Oh, he's a guitar. What's the name for it? It's not a guitar builder. What's the name for it, Mark?
He's a guitar builder. Yeah.
A luthier.
That's it. A luthier.
Luthier.
Yeah. We'll have to get him on. We'll get him on.
There's a couple that I follow on your side of the world, and I'm down to the names because I'm tired. The names escape me.
Yeah, I'm tired.
Yeah, I think they've got some great channels. They've got a very big following. So whether we could get them on here, I have no idea. But get them.
Yeah.
You don't ask, you don't get.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly right. Well, I wanted to get a few of these under my belt first before I got Doug on, and lucky for me, for us, he decided to come on. So thanks very much, Doug. It really means a lot.
My pleasure, sir. My pleasure indeed.
And if you haven't already, subscribe to Doug, Fleets Woodshop, Mark, Small Workshop Adventures.
Small Workshop Adventures, and the same for Rob, but the Weekend Shedhead.
That's it, you got it. Thanks for the plug. Guys, it's been a pleasure.
Love, my friends, all love.
We'll speak soon.
All right.
So there we go. Thanks for watching. I hope you got to the end. Who knows? It's quite a long video. And if you want to be on SHEDEEZ, please email me, weekendshedhead@yahoo.com. So thanks for watching. Take care. Cheers. See you next time on Weekend Shedhead.